Foreign Contribution Regulation Act 2020 is an amendment act. 2020 is an amendment act. Original act was 2010. That means 2010. Original act was 2010. Prior to that original act, we have another act in the 1976, but we have repealed all together, and we have brought 2010 act, and we have amended to the 2010 act in the year 2020. What is this act? What is this act? Foreign Contribution Regulation Act. This act is Foreign Contribution Regulation Act. Foreign contribution. To whom foreign contribution? To the some of the civil society organizations or to the some of the NGOs. NGOs. Probably I don't know whether you have worked with any NGO or not, but normally NGO means non-governmental organizations or civil societies. Normally they will take some money from at the domestic level, and also they will take from the foreign level. We need to regulate that foreign contributions. We need to regulate that foreign contributions. Why you need to regulate that foreign contributions? Why? Anyone knows? Why you need a regulation to the foreign contribution? Because the government of the day strongly believes that they are misusing these funds. The government of the day strongly believing that they are misusing these funds. Misusing means they are using for a different purpose than what they are taking. Suppose there is an environmental organization, because government has banned it, so I am naming it Greenpeace. There is an environmental organization. They are taking lot of money from foreign country, but government of the day believes that these people are using this money not to protect the environment, but to fund the agitations of the people. Which type of agitation? I am building Sardar Sarovar Dam project. Some areas are submerging. So these people are coming to that submergent people, and they are provocating the agitations. That means maybe Sardar Sarovar Dam has caused lot of damage. So many people are migrated, but the point here is, if at all you need a larger dam, definitely the migration will happen. I am not saying like migration should happen. You must bring some other alternative models, like instead of having big reservoirs, there should be. But the point here is, for what purpose they are taking the money, for that purpose they are not using. They are diverting for different purposes. Sometimes this diversion of fund is halting the developmental process of country, and also sometimes it is posing security to the country. That is what exactly the explanation given by the government. So that means they are acting against the interest of India. Wherever an agitation comes, they are funding. They are using for different purposes. So that is the reason why government of India has banned so many NGOs and so many civil societies. So whether it is correct or not, I'll come to the debate later, but just try to follow the provisions, and after that I'll tell you what NGOs must do first and what government has to do next. Okay, so now this is for that. But under this particular act, there are some provisions which are not exactly regulating the foreign funds. So government want to strictly regulate it. So under this regulation, the first point is the new amendments what they have brought. Under that first point is whatever the foreign contributions that you are receiving, you have to receive to a particular bank account, no? That account must be only at New Delhi in SBI branch, not in every branch wherever you want, because government thinks that if it is only at SBI New Delhi, then I can track it easily. So FCRA account. See, I'll tell you one thing. Whenever you will get the question in the paper 2 because it's related to paper 2. They don't ask for all these provisions. They don't ask for all these provisions. They will ask you to analyze these provisions. How it really undermining the democracy, how it really making the working of NGOs impossible. In that way, the question will get. Now your answer should be, while you are writing, don't write all the points, whatever I'm saying. This is the beauty of civil services. You must take, okay, the government is imposing that an account should be at Delhi, but if the account is at Delhi, all the NGOs cannot maintain and cannot fulfill their KYC and other norms. But in this digital era, if the government stipulates that account is only on a particular branch, perhaps it is very difficult for some of the NGOs who are working at the village level. This is how you need to write. Not that whatever the points I'm writing at the board. Understanding? Okay. Second point, Aadhaar is mandatory. Second point, Aadhaar is mandatory. That means whatever the head or board of directors or whatever the heads of that NGO must register with their Aadhaar card. If you don't have Aadhaar card, because Aadhaar card is not compulsory. Aadhaar card is compulsory in India. Is it compulsory? If you don't take, what will happen? Someone is saying something. When this Aadhaar judgment was delivered, they questioned the validity of Aadhaar. In the year 2016, the Aadhaar judgment was delivered. And according to that, if at all you want to get any benefit out of consolidated fund of India, for that if government stipulates anything, then you have to follow. Otherwise, you no need. In a simple language, if you need any benefit from the government of India, if government of India asks for Aadhaar, then you have to produce. If you don't want any benefit from government of India, then you don't need to have any Aadhaar. Simple. Okay. They haven't make it mandatory. But all these NGOs who are running, they are civil rights activists. They know a lot of constitution, laws, and fundamental rights. And some of the people don't want to take this because they are having a different opinion that they are going to do surveillance. But if you don't have the Aadhaar, you are not supposed to. And recently, extension has given because of COVID-19, Aadhaar enrollment has become very difficult. So, but extension has given, but Aadhaar is mandatory. Now you can write that when the Supreme Court said that it is not compulsory, that to government is not giving any money, why government should ask for an Aadhaar? It's not a benefit from the government. That means you can counter the argument in this way. That's what I'm saying. Are you understanding? Because if the question asks for these particular stipulations are making impossible for working of NGOs, then you can counter an other argument in such a way that when the Supreme Court itself say that Aadhaar is not mandatory, that too they are not getting any benefit from the government of India, why should the decision of the government override the decision of Supreme Court? That is how. And it will come only through practice. Okay, don't surprise. You will get anyway, as while you are going and while you are reading, while you are learning, these points will come to your mind and definitely you can counter it in an appropriate manner. Okay. And again, you have to be very clear. I can write the perfect answer to the FCRA only if I read FCRA. Only FCRA information is not sufficient to write the answer for FCRA. You need to know other information also. You need to club the information from different areas and you need to write an appropriate answer to this question. Now I have given Aadhaar example. From where it got? It is from Aadhaar judgment. It's not from FCRA. That is how you need to club the knowledge. It's not something like, see, it is, you are learning so many things. It is again like your a mixed pot where you will place all your knowledge. But the moment if you see the question, you need to pick appropriate point from your entire bowl and you need to write the answer. Not that only you have to confine to FCRA portion. No. There was a question asked, UPA was amended in 2019. UPA was amended. What is UPA? Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. Probably, I think when you are going through the Hindu, you will get. The question was asked. What are the recent amendments to the UPA and how it is going to have an effect? Do you know what are the UPA amendments? Anyway, I'll try to deal on another day because that is important, no? Actually, suddenly I got into my mind. Otherwise, I could have taken UPA instead of FCRA. But anyhow, so Aadhaar is mandatory and FCRA. It looks like a simple statement, but at the time of exam, by seeing some questions, you will really realize even if I know 2 points, I could have elaborate on those points. But unfortunately, even the 2 points not came to my mind. That is what exactly you realize while you are writing the mains exam. Even if you know some 2 points, even if someone assists you with some 2 points, I could have elaborate on that. But unfortunately, I'm clueless about that question. I don't know what to write. So that situation may come. But anyhow, so FCRA account, Aadhaar, third one. The government can restrict the usage of funds. The government can restrict the usage of funds. If the government thinks that your particular association or organization is working in contravention to the provisions of the law, if the government thinks that you are not following the law properly, then they can control the usage. That means they will simply call to the manager of SBI Delhi and they will say that they are not supposed to draw any money, and immediately the bank manager will put a lock to that account. And it's not possible if you open account in Pattanam Thitta or in somewhere in Trivandrum. It's not possible. That is why they have stipulated to open the account at SBI Delhi. Because if they think that you are not working properly, then they will stop the usage of funds. This is one provision. Yeah, this is important point. Prohibits transfer of foreign contribution to any other person. Prohibit transfer of foreign contributions. Prohibit transfer of foreign contributions to other person. See, I am running a particular NGO, and you are running in another NGO. Suddenly, your NGO is running out of cash or money. Then earlier there was a provision that I can transfer my money to that. But this government said, no, you are not supposed to. For what purpose they have given to you, for that purpose only you will use. Otherwise, it is very difficult. Why? Because government believes, it's not my belief, but government believes. There is an anti-CAA protest happening across the country. Who has to fund that? Some NGO is already having some funds and they are diverting this to agitation. Because there is an NGO working for the rights of minorities. And government thinks that rights of minorities cannot be like this agitation. But they are saying like, this is also a part of minority thing, so we will spend it. So that means government is now restricting the flow of foreign funds from one person to another person. It is for your organization, you have to use it for what purpose you are receiving. Otherwise, we will lock that entire account. Next. This is compulsory required provision. Fifth one. Administrative expenses capped at 20%. Administrative expenses capped at 20%. Earlier, the administrative expenses were up to 50%. That means if you are receiving 10 lakhs, up to 5 lakh you can use for administrative expenses. That means you can fit an AC, you can have a car, you can have a good table, you can have a good lunch. And for other purpose, how much you are using? Only remaining 50 you are using. But say nothing doing. If you want service, just cap your administrative experiences only up to 20. Remaining 80% has to be spent only on the intended purpose. What service you want to do, just spend on that. So administrative expenses capped at 20%. It prohibited the transfer of funds from one person to another. There may be a restriction on usage of the funds if the government thinks that these provisions are contravening the existing law. And FCRA account at New Delhi and Aadhaar card is compulsory for registration. And one more thing, certain type of persons are prohibited from accepting the foreign funds, like those who are working in the government, that means government servants, journalists, the people who are contesting in the elections, public representatives, judges, political parties. Political parties in the sense, political parties can get the funds that is in a different way. That's a political funding, that's a different route. But the people in the political party, government servants, judges, and the people who are contesting for the elections, editors, publishers of the newspapers, they are not supposed to get this money. They are not supposed to get this money. And the main problem with these non-governmental organizations or civil society is, one of the main problem is, some of the institutes, they are not interested in filing the returns. They don't submit their accounts to the, under which ministry they will work? Home Affairs. Under Ministry, don't think like it's an economic Ministry of Finance. No. Under Ministry of Home Affairs, these entire legislation is implemented, but most of the NGOs and most of the civil society associations, they are not submitting the reports. See, you want to do the service, yes, do it, but not at the cost of law. Because we have seen, I'm not blaming anybody, we have seen a movie actor who has spent a lot of amount of money during the time of COVID-19, but after that, I don't know whether it is a vendetta or not, but I don't know. But the thing is, immediately IT has arrived and they have found something mischief. At the cost of mischief, if you do social service and you can't substantiate under the law. And as a civil servants, for us, first is law. First is constitution. I can say like, okay, I'm protecting this guy, but because at the cost of the violation of law, no, that should not be. That should not be. Your loss has to be humane. That's a different story. Your loss has to be humane. If something is, if law doesn't allow something, you are not supposed to do. You are not supposed to do. You have to change the law, but at the cost of the law, you cannot take any decision. So the point is, the same logic applies here. These are organizations. They left everything. They are not married. They are contributing entire life to the service. Okay. But they should also follow the due process of law. If you have any problem with the law, just go and change the law. Try to bring changes to the law. But we are not supposed to violate the law. Because in ethics, while you are writing some case studies, there is a contradiction comes between the morality and legality. Morality and legality. Then you always say, okay, even if law violates, I can go with that. No, you are not supposed to. If your constitution or law not permits, you are not supposed to, because you are deriving the powers from that. You are deriving, it's not your own power. You are not a king to take any decision, whatever you want. It's a democracy. There is a system, there are laws. And if you start exercising that discretion, then everyone will exercise the same discretion, then it will become an anarchy, not democracy. So that means why I am always insisting that point here is because these people are claiming that they are doing a lot of service. Yes, you can do, but not at the cost of law. That is first point you need to remember. And second thing is, in this technical, in this progressive or in this techno-savvy society, it's very unfortunate to say that until you have an Aadhaar, I cannot track it. Until you have the account at the FCRA, I don't track it. These are something not correct provisions. Let them have anywhere. Anyway, you can track through anything. But you can't make the working of NGOs impossible, because government alone cannot do everything in this country. It's not possible. 138 crore people are the figure, I don't know exactly, but they're saying 138. 138 crore people, government have limited resources. Government cannot do everything. Definitely we need to have some support of the civil society. And as an individual, you and me cannot come to the road and cannot do. But if we think that someone is working, definitely we will contribute something to that guy. And let that person have a freedom to do his function properly. but at the same time, they must be the law-abiding citizens. Okay. So with these sort of things, you can conclude, but I don't know whether the question will be asked or not. Just try to remember this. Okay.
Amrita IAS Academy.